Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we are here with Shango, and we are super excited because he came all the way down from Washington to see us. He has a podcast called Shaping the Fire, and he is the founder of Vashon Island Marijuana Enthusiast Alliance.
It's a really long name, isn't it?
So tell us the abbreviation.
Well, first, let's. The podcast is actually Shaping Fire, not the fire. Yeah, it's at shapingfire.com. So the Vashon Island Marijuana Entrepreneurs Alliance was a trade organization that started about 5 years ago when medical was still in Washington, and what we did is we found that so many of the growers on the island were just selling against each other on the island, and so the prices were crashing, and
that sounds familiar.
We had really great prices on our island. So I recognized this because my friends were all growers, and I said, let's organize and start creating a channel to dispensaries all around the state. So that's what we did. All the farmers started working together and group buying, soil and nutrients and things like that. And everybody was happy because their prices went down and the amount they got for their flower went up. Unfortunately, though, everything's changed now because they killed medical in Washington, tried to roll it in so far unsuccessfully into recreational, and so all of those heritage growers had to make a decision about whether or not they wanted to just stop being in cannabis or if they wanted to go back to a black market. And that's a really hard decision for anybody to make when this is something you've been doing your whole life, and it's why your kids can go to summer camp, right? It's because you've got this extra money.
Wow.
What was that transition like? When you talk about this heritage transition to commercial growing, can you kind of touch on that?
Sure. Well, originally when the laws got passed, they promised all the medical people that they would have an opportunity in the licensed cannabis market. And people were pretty skeptical.
They promised.
Yeah, promised, right? And unfortunately what happened is that when it finally came time to give out the licenses, almost none of them were original heritage medical people, like just a handful. And it was a real travesty. They were more interested in giving the money to a higher capitalized folks from other industries when they were making their qualification choices, right? And so what they did is they took a pre-existing, it could use some more regulation, but it could a pre-existing market with professionals who already had the relationships, set them all aside, and then installed this whole new system with all new people from other industries, and a lot of those companies hired medical folk, but this is trying to make good out of a difficult situation, and the people who were with us through the dark times and through Prohibition, who put in all the real work over the decades, most of those folks got pushed out.
How does that affect your community?
Well,
how did it affect it?
Well, where I live on Vashon, we went from having 156 small businesses that are all run by families to having 4 larger licensed operations, right? And the people who run those operations on our island, they're actually very nice people, right? So we're not against that, but it's the fact that so many people were pushed out and were no longer included, right? Especially since they're the people who made cannabis what it is, right?
This is very similar to what we're experiencing in the Emerald Triangle currently.
Yeah, well, I noticed yesterday the news that they removed the 1 acre cap. And that, what that's going to do to shape California cannabis is astonishing. You've all the protections for artisan growers, for specialty folks.
Small-time family farms.
Yeah, absolutely. It's just a shame. And so they're going to be supplanted by these bigger folks. I thought the idea to give them 5 years to get the market set for artisans.
That was a really, really good idea. I really wish that they had at least given us the 5-year head start. Ultimately, it was why a lot of my family and friends decided to go legal. Stepping from the black market into a transparent world is really hard if it's all
really
you know.
Hard to go back too.
And,
right?
you can't go back, you know. And you just can't, And so having that cap or the 5-year limit would have been really nice. But either way, we really love what you're doing.
Right on, thank
you. We
you.
appreciate you not only educating the consumer, but also trying to, organize groups to kind of help the people who that's all they've ever known stay.
Protecting the integrity of the community.
Growers need somebody to defend them, and since I'm not a grower myself, but all my friends are growers, I figured it'd be a good opportunity to help folks who, growers, they spend so much time with the plant, they don't necessarily want to be out there in the front. They just want to be alone to do their craft, right?
Exactly.
And I figured, well, it's something I can do to help.
That's really awesome. That's really great of you. And not only do they, the only thing that they've been doing is growing, and they do it considerably well, but now they're branding and becoming a marketer, and who do you sell it? There's all these other facets that have come into that, and so it's really nice to hear that there are people like yourself out there helping,
And it sounds like this podcast is a platform that you're using to get this information to your community and beyond. Can you talk about the podcast?
Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah.
So it's the Shaping Fire podcast at shapingfire.com. And every week I talk with some of the top minds in international cannabis, from Kevin Jodry, of course. He was on the show recently talking about the history of CBD and where the original plants came from.
Okay.
And Dr. Ethan Russo talking about the endocannabinoid system and
Amazing.
terpene profiles, right? And so every week, and also from down in this area, Mean Gene has been on the show from Freeborn Selection. So every week I talk to somebody, and unlike a lot of podcasts, we're not really personality based. They're not profile episodes. We take a different topic area every week, and the person speaks to that topic. So every episode is very educational.
Great.
Yeah. So it's a lot of fun.
Wow. Exciting. What else? Let's talk about educating the consumer. So we've been having this big conversation about terpenes versus THC. Do you want to touch a little bit on this component?
Well, when I was sitting out there in the judges' room earlier, we were talking about how helpful it would be for every consumer to have this kind of a judging experience, because it's so challenging when you're first getting into cannabis, and we're all attracting all these new enthusiasts now, right?
Yeah.
But they have to go and they have to spend retail money to try one strain, and then retail money and it's hard to build up your experience like that if you're new. Whereas you come to something like this, and I've got a whole bunch of samples in front of me, well, I'll have a really good understanding of what's going on in probiotic light dep in Northern California by the end of the time. And it would be great that if anytime anybody comes into cannabis, we're like, welcome to smoking marijuana. Please enjoy your sampler pack so you can find out what you like.
What works for you?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that would be such a
Educate.
great entry.
I agree with you.
Because it's hard when you have to pay your $10 to $15 a gram at retail just to learn what you like.
Wouldn't that be nice if we could access cannabis medicine in that form? Because our brains are all wired differently. Our experiences are all wired differently.
Yep.
We're arriving differently on an individual level. And so, yeah, I love that concept. I think we should push
Here's
that
your
forward
sample kit.
somehow. Maybe
Here's
once
your
we get
sample
insured,
kit.
medical insurance.
Welcome to the
this.
tribe.
Yeah,
exactly.
welcome to the tribe.
The other thing I was laughing about as I was walking up to chat with you too is that normally when you're at a party and you've got your cannabis, you don't want to necessarily leave it on a table somewhere, but there's so much out there because
Welcome to Humboldt.
everybody's judging so much that I'm like, yeah, my stuff is safe where it is out in the open.
No one's gonna. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. So that's funny.
All right.
That's hilarious. I love it. Okay, wow, it's so great that you're here. We're thrilled to be here with you. So just to sort of wrap things up, is there anything else you want to throw out there in reference to just where we're at with Golden Tarps and...
Well, I heard that the set really took a lot of effort to put together, and they were talking about all the effort that the team and how long people have been here. Yeah. There's probably a good story behind that.
There really and truly is.
Where's the package?
So we're gonna head over to the Mateel.
Let's go check on my sister. Hey, Sloan.